A very good morning and warm welcome to all to the final day of 3-day workshop on DevOps practices in industry. I thank all of you for your continued enthusiastic participation for the last 2 days. I am glad a significant number of participants could get the hands-on experience in using Jenkins tool, integrating different plugins like Maven, Build Pipeline, Jacaco. Still, there are some participants who are trying to do it. Definitely, we are going to extend our support till this Tuesday. I trust all of you must be logging in into our Telegram group as well. So overall, we could have the feel of how CI/CD pipeline works from yesterday's demo. So now through this day 3 session, we are going to gain experience how CI/CD pipeline works in Wi-Fi domain. Let me take the privilege of introducing today's speaker, Mr. Shivam Thakur. He is working as software architect in Candela Technologies. Mr. Shivam is having experience in Wi-Fi domain and embedded software. He worked on multiple automation tools and developed DevOps solution Wi-Fi CI/CD pipeline for Candela Technologies. Shivam did his Master of Technology in Embedded Systems from VIT Vellore. Sir is going to provide us business perspective and taking us through live case study. I request all participants to make use of his experience. Sir, now I request you to please start the session.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for introducing me. I hope everyone can hear me. Okay, so let me just share my screen. I cannot share my screen.
I will just give that option, sir. 1 second. Yes, sir. Now you must be able to do.
Okay. Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So first of all, I'm very much thankful for providing this platform where I can share my knowledge to all of the young people there. So today's topic, I will be going to present DevOps for business perspective, which is very important topic, and you should be aware of how DevOps play a crucial role in the entire business, like any company. So you might have learned some tools like Jenkins, Maven, and other CI/CD tools, but the big picture still remains the little bit blurry to everyone. Why you are learning this? What's the main use case? How you can start your own company and you can use the concept of DevOps and increase your productivity like that. There are lots of dynamics in a business, and everything in a business remains very much complicated. Like business is first of all not very much easy. If you are working as a software engineer or as a DevOps engineer or as an independent role, that is comparatively easy when it comes to running a business. So any tool, any practice, any scenario that can help grow business is very important to adopt in any domain. So a business is very crucial part, and DevOps plays a very important role in business perspective. I will also explain how my experience in my working in Wi-Fi domain, I'm using the entire CI/CD DevOps tool, and how DevOps is playing a very important role in entire Wi-Fi domain. And I'll explain you everything on a very high level, and then I'll show you the live demo of no, it's not just we cannot call it a demo, but we can call it I'll show you how we are doing the testing, what's the framework we are using, how we adopt the testing, how we do the Wi-Fi testing, and how we use the how we use a very flexible tool in Wi-Fi testing. It's just not about the Wi-Fi testing. In any kind of domain, you can use this tool, and I'll explain you. When I'll give you a demo, I can explain you. So that is okay. Okay, so first of all, there are two perspectives of any business, two models of any business. So let me just okay. So if in any business, you might have having a thought process like, okay, most of you are young. You might have a brilliant ideas that you want to implement and create your own product, start your own company. That's very important to know. And so if you are planning to start your own company, if you have a good idea, if you're planning to make a product out of that, if you want to sell that, it's very, very good to have people like that in our country. And the idea behind the how business model works can be visualized in this way. So let's say you have an idea, right? You have a idea, right? For example, you're working on any software tool, any technology. You have an idea that how you want to make something out of that idea. Then you might use the technology. So any idea drives the technology, right? You have any idea for related to any technology, then you work on that technology, and if you successfully build something, then technology also grows in that domain. Anyone who develops something on a particular technology, it grows the technology, right? It develops the technology. So any idea drives the technology. This is one approach. Then technology drives a product. If you have any product, if you are developing any product out of the technology, then eventually the product is driven by the technology itself. That's the second thing. And if you have a good product, eventually it will be driving a business. If you have a product that people want to use, a market has demand of that product, then your product will be used by people, and that will be the business for you. So this is one approach, but there is another approach, and which is more practical approach, which we need to follow. Like most of you are students, you might think in a way where you have an idea, you want to implement it, you want to do something, and you want to take that to the next level and make your own startup like that. So which is very good. And you might think in this way, like you have an idea, you want to develop a product, and then that's it. You might think in this way. But the more practical way of thinking about a business and about starting a business is this. So it's actually vice versa. So for example, you first come up with a problem statement, right? You have a market. Any market has a particular demand. For example, in Wi-Fi domain, there is a market, and for example, market needs Wi-Fi 6. Market requires the products based on Wi-Fi 6 technology. Market requires a product based on 5G. Market requires a product based on IoT. Market requires a product based on embedded systems and all those things. So any market, any product development depends on its use case. Here in this model, you will develop a product based on the market requirement. First of all, think in this way. Whatever idea you have, is that a definite use case in the market? That's the right way. If you think that the product that you're developing is not good fit in the market, or is that something like that, then think a bit. Think how you can make your product flexible enough to fit in the market. So any market drives the business. Then business opportunity drives the product. For example, if you can sell your product to anyone, that is a business opportunity, and it creates a driving path for your product, right? It is the very starting point. And then a product drives a technology, right? If you are selling a product that works on a particular technology, then there is a growth of that technology in that domain itself. For example, if you are making something out of CI/CD tool, if you are making a new CI/CD tool, if you are making something new in CI/CD or DevOps kind of thing, which you think is more useful in any of the business or any other place, then eventually the growth of that DevOps is also been there. So that is a technology. Product drives the technology. And then if you know that which technology can make you sell your product which you want to make, it gives you more ideas. It gives you more flexibility to think in a way where you can come up with multiple solutions. So in this model, you have a problem statement before you think of on an idea. But in the previous approach, you learn something about a technology and you create your ideas and you think like, I can make something out of this. I can make something. You're fascinated in this way. You are fascinated in this model. You are very much fascinated that I want to make something out of this, and like that you are thinking like, okay, I can make this and I can be a good startup company and I can earn a lot, like that. But in this approach, you will be thinking in a way where you can sell the product actually. So which is the most practical approach in any business domain. So these are the two things I wanted to share as a part of my learning. Now, how DevOps is used, right, in any business, that is a very important part. So, for example, if you make a startup company, you might be having a product for which you need a software development, right? You might be developing a software tool or software product. You want to test it, so you have a quality assurance team which will test it. Then a general operations will also be playing a major role. For example, if you have a customer for that product, then you will be taking the requirements from the operations team will take the requirements from the customers, and it will give that requirement to development team. Development team will actually build that product based on the requirements that the customer has. That's why I said this second approach, where you will create a product based on the market requirement, right? Based on the market demand. So which is most practical approach to follow in any business, and every business follows this kind of model in most of their cases. So you will take the business requirement or you will take the customer requirement and give it to development team. Software development team will build the product based on the requirement, and then the QA team will test your product, whether the product fits and product works as expected according to the requirements that are given by the customer. If it is good, then it is again handed over to operations, where you will actually release or deploy or deliver the product. This is a very practical approach and which is very used. Now, DevOps plays a very crucial part, because DevOps is the intersection of all the three things, because everyone communicates with each other, and DevOps is nothing just a set of practices which we follow in any of the business organizations or any of the operations organizations. It's just not about Jenkins. It's just not about GitHub. It's just not about any kind of version control kind of thing. It's a set of practice that we all do in SDLC model. You might have studied about SDLC, where you have a waterfall model, you have different kinds of model available, agile model, all those kinds of model you have understood. So DevOps plays a very crucial part, and DevOps is the heart of that particular SDLC model. And in any SDLC model, DevOps plays a very crucial role right now. Previously, what happens when DevOps was not there? People created some management process to actually make things working. For example, let's say GitHub was not there, Jenkins was not there. Imagine if these DevOps software tools was not there. Still DevOps existed. How DevOps existed? Not in the form of software part, but in the part of management part. If there is no software tool that can handle where you can use to manage these entire operations for development to QA to customer delivery, then that's not a problem. Way back a couple of years back. Previously, what happens? Operations team or customer team will directly contact to customer. It takes the requirement on paper or email or something like that. It delivers to development team. Development team create the documentation, and based on the documentation or based on that thing, QA team will test, and it will create some test plan based on their assurance. It delivers to customer. Sometimes customer might have some complaints, or sometimes some new set of requirements or something like that. Those are the when DevOps never existed, these kind of management related processes are used to coordinate among teams, among entire business. So business can still run without DevOps. It is not the case now. It was the case because this was never existed, but now any business needs a DevOps, a CI/CD or kind of thing in any of the software or hardware or any company. Like if you take an example of Intel or Qualcomm, where it not only the software development is done, but also the hardware development is done. So then there is a HDLC model, hardware development life cycle. There's a lot of different dynamics of any business. If your company is like purely software based company, then you can follow the software development life cycle process, and you can include DevOps tool chains, various kinds of CI/CD integrations in that. But if you have a hardware company which has the limitation of hardware requirement, because in hardware company what happens, like you will have a fixed requirement of any hardware requirement which cannot be changed. If customer changes its hardware requirement dynamically, then that's not the case. The company will not work, or the business model will not work very easily in that kind of thing. So everything is connected, and DevOps plays a very important role in any business. Now, why DevOps is needed in any is important in any business, I already explained that. I'll explain you why this is needed. For example, if you have a product, you can see this picture where you can see any product. These are the developers, these are the operations and other QA teams. So developers will have their own concerns, right? And people will have like monitoring studios, fix your bugs, errors in production environment. They will also they will pull that product in that direction, like where they will test the effectiveness or robustness of the product, both in the production environment as well as in the QA environment. Developers will have their own set of requirements, like need automation. We need some improvements in many kind of things. So these are the dynamics of any company, where we have a development team thinking in a different mindset, and your quality assurance team thinking in a different mindset, and at the same time your business operations team will think in an entirely different mindset. They will ask the developers, okay, I need this product immediately, like in few days. We have a hard deadline. Customer needs that. If we don't deliver this, then we will lose this business deal. Like that, they have their own problems. But things that are practically possible, because for example, if you say a customer needs a product in 1 week, right? If 1 week, then how things will be tedious if operations team will take that requirement to the developer and say that, okay, build this product, okay, make this product in 7 days, and we need to deliver that to the customer in 7 days, otherwise we'll lose a business deal. Like that kind of talking, if they do, then developer will think, and they will do things faster and faster. Then and there is no QA will be done, and developer will directly hand over to QA. And then at the very end time, like for example, if a developer is starting to build a product, it takes 4 days or 5 days, but in 7 days you have to deliver that product. Then at the fifth day, if the QA person tests that product on the fifth day, very fifth day, then what will happen if there are a number of bugs or issues in that product? Developer will not get a time to fix that, and because we have a hard deadline for customer delivery, so QA needs to be done in parallel with the development environment. So the issue with this, if the DevOps and CI/CD tools were never existed, was that if developer writes a code, he needs to share it to QA person and tell him to test it. Once it is tested, he will work again, like that. And this process is very tedious, where and we need an automated way where both the development process and testing processes are running parallelly, and there is no lag in that. So that kind of thing is like in SDLC models. You might have heard about different types of models. One of them, or many of them, models are like this, where development process and testing process happens parallelly. So in any business, DevOps plays a very crucial role, because it can, if DevOps never existed, it can make you lose $1 million deal, like that. So DevOps is very important in that role. Now, anytime we think about DevOps, most of us talk about version control. Like, what is version control? How we do version control of any software. For example, if any product requirement is there, developer will write a product. It will develop a first version of that. Then testing person will test and deliver. It will do all kinds of testing, and then first version is delivered to the customer. Then in the next version, it will do some improvements and then deliver. So it's more kind of agile model where we use version control most of the time, where we develop any product and we do testing and then we deliver it, and then we improve our product, and then we do testing and then we deliver. We again improve our product and we test it, and then we deliver the product. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sorry for that. Yeah. So, so what I was saying that DevOps was like the version control systems were developed over the period of time, and there were many development tools like Bitmover, created Bitkeeper, and all those things. All those like things were created like that. So there are many development tools. So who this person is, we all know that he's the creator of Linux, but we all should know he's the creator of Git also. Git is created by this person, Linus Torvalds. So why he created, what is the problem statement? So this is a more like a use case scenario where I will talk about how we can approach any problem and how we can solve a problem of DevOps. So this is a more practical problem that Linus faced in his early stages of open source project, where he wanted to actually make the use of DevOps, but he was not able to do that. He wanted to basically there was no revision control used at very early stages of Linux kernel development. So originally Linux used no revision control at all. But since many contributors started to contribute in that Linux software, then what will happen, like people need a version control system where many people need that. So think like DevOps and version control was a lot needed in any kind of software development environment, because without that, no product, no company, no one can grow. That kind of level of importance the DevOps plays in any business perspective. So so what happened, originally Linus was not using any revision control at all. This was not because there was no open source revision control available. There was many CVS was available around 1980s, and it was still most popular system around. And what happened, like it was the contributors can submit the patches to central repository and examine the history of patches going to that repository. So this kind of mechanism was used in CVS, and it was most popular system for version control at that time in around 1980s. But there was many complaints of CVS. One of them, it tracked changes on a per file basis. If most of you, if you know how to handle the GitHub, how you work on Git repositories, if anyone you have experience on that. You know that in Git we can track changes per file basis. We create a file. There is a very need. Like another issues was like there also were some hard bugs to fix, like race conditions when two conflicting patches were submitted at the same time. In CVS, what happened? For example, if you have worked on any version control systems, you are creating some file, and you applied that changes and you push that changes into the repository, central repository, and someone else is also making that changes in the file. Then there's a Git conflict will come. Conflicts will come in the patches and all those things. So that kind of thing is very crucial in any version control, which was the issue, and this was the biggest bug of CVS at that time, and which was very hard to fix at that time. Now Linus has no choice. He was interested in any open source version control system, but CVS was the one he can use. But he didn't like that because of lots of drawbacks of CVS at that time. Now the story behind how he developed the Git is quite simple. It's not simple, actually. It's very complicated. Like there's a long story of Linux for Linus to develop a GitHub like Git. So GitHub and Git are different. Don't confuse that GitHub and Git both are same. Git is a open source tool and a platform or software tool. GitHub is using that concept of Git. That's the difference between Git and GitHub. Git and GitHub are two different things. So Linus chose BitKeeper, right? Because he was not interested in CVS because of many issues. He chose the BitKeeper, which was the closed source commercial systems developed by Bitmover company and run by the Larry. Put significant restrictions on Linux community to exchange for the non-pay license. First, Linux developer would not be allowed to work on competing revision control projects while using BitKeeper. If any of the Linux contributor is using BitKeeper, he is not allowed to work on any other version control system, which is the competitor of BitKeeper. That's the restrictions that Bitmover put on all the Linux development community, which is very annoying. Linus wanted to see BitKeeper was very good at that time. It has all the features that Linus wanted to include in the version control system, but it's not an open source. It's a closed source. It's a commercial version control system. That's not right. And second, that Bitmover would control certain metadata related to kernel project. So in order to notice any abuse of license without any access of the metadata, kernel developers would be unable to compare the past kernel versions. And that is very important standard feature of any revision control systems. If I want to compare my current patch with the patch which was committed by someone else 2 days ago or 3 days ago, that kind of feature was not available in BitKeeper because they put the restrictions. It's not like that feature was not available in BitKeeper, but Bitmover put that restriction on the community. So Linux develops Git because several challenges were faced by the open source community of Linux developers due to the issues. It's very hard to run an open source project without any version control. I hate the BitKeeper. I hate CVS. I like BitKeeper, but it is not open. Wait a minute. I made a Linux, damn it. So Linus thought is the most popular thing which we use in entire. Everyone use Git most of the time. So he developed the Git in 2.5 months because of the issues that he was facing. That is the entire history of Git. How Git was developed, why it was developed, who developed, And what was that? There is an entire Git origin story. You can read it online to know how it is developed, right? There is of course a lot of story which I cannot cover in this presentation because there is a lot to cover still. You can read someone like market to business and business to product, and product to technology and technology to ideas. This is awesome. Okay, could you please elaborate the technology, how technology drives ideas? Ideas drive technology, right? Okay, so I'll answer this question after some time, like in this presentation. Once I complete. So thanks for asking the question. I'll answer that. Okay. So now,
sir, do you suggest me to read out the questions, or will you be managing? If you require support, I will do that.
so I'm thinking like after the end of the slides, we can have a Q&A session
Okay.
for open Q&A session where we can answer questions live.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So DevOps is not just a version control, right? As I told, version control is the subset of a DevOps, but DevOps is not just a version control. CI/CD, continuous integration and continuous delivery or continuous deployment. This is the entire process or a scenario that we create in any of the open source or any closed source or any company use the CI/CD integration in their business perspective for any product development like that. So now, how Candela is using DevOps in Wi-Fi. That's the very important thing, and I would like to explain you how we are as a part of Wi-Fi expertise. We are using the DevOps for our entire. So Candela has many customers, around 200 plus Wi-Fi customers. Most of them are Wi-Fi access point manufacturers. We have gaming companies. We have networking companies. Most of the big networking companies are the customers for Candela. So what happens? Let's imagine that we have a very subset of this. Like we have 3 customers at the moment. Like let's assume. Now we have a requirement from them for their CI/CD environment. So how we play in the okay, how we play an important role, I'll tell you in later point. So assume that we have continuous delivery. Most of you have heard of Helm. Helm is a very popular tool. We have many delivery tools, like we use like Kubernetes, we use AWS, we use many kind of things that are currently existing in the CI/CD continuous delivery model. We have continuous testing. So continuous integration, continuous testing, and continuous delivery. Then again, continuous integration, continuous testing, continuous delivery. This is the model that Candela is playing a major role in any of the Wi-Fi projects which we have. So we have our own software tool. We have our own product hardware tool. We develop the software, we develop the hardware, we integrate the hardware, and we sell that to customer, and then we are the part of their continuous testing in the entire CI/CD pipeline. We are actually a part of CI/CD pipeline of many big companies directly involved in their continuous testing part. We use PyTest as a major framework to which I will also show you how we use PyTest. Then TestRail is the again visualization and reporting tool. Then we have Allure tool. We use that. Many tools we can use for continuous testing. We'll show you. I'll show you how we are playing a major role in continuous testing. Now, any Wi-Fi CI/CD pipeline is like, first we do a planning. Then we do coding. Then we do a build. Then we test it, we release, we deploy, and we monitor. These are the stages of any CI/CD pipeline that we use currently. Candela plays a major role in testing and releasing cycle. We actually test that entire software, which, for example, any access point manufacturer company has a AP firmware. They develop a software. They ask us to, okay, just test this entire build, right? They plan to develop a software. They code it. They build that version. They send us. We test that entire version. We give that our pass fail. Okay, this version is passed for and quality assured. So we are directly or indirectly involved in the CI/CD pipeline of any of the most of the customers that we have currently. So we have the full test automation and functional performance regression. We have the entire test suite. We develop we write the test cases, we write the test plan, we write the entire testing steps, and we give the pass fail to the customer. So this is the entire role that Candela is playing. Candela is the one of the crucial part in CI/CD pipeline of many companies which we have currently. Now the high level overview which I showed, like any AP manufacturer company, it has a software and firmware developers. They develop a code. Then it comes to QA team. Candela is the QA team for them, extended QA team for them. They will be having a QA team for internally, but we are directly or indirectly supporting them, or we are directly involving in that particular quality assurance kind of thing for any of the company. And then production release is done based on the testing that we do for anyone. Now, what we do in continuous testing and continuous delivery, right? So we have n number of test plans, test suites, which we can create for any company. Like, for example, sanity testing. For example, if you are developing a AP software, AP firmware, like access point firmware, so you might be writing some code, and you, while developing, there is a chances there are chances that you may have broken some fundamental thing which worked before, right? In the next version, you might have broken something which was working in previous version. So that is a very crucial part. We should not break anything in any development process, but we cannot assure that things will not break during the development process. So what we do, we have a sanity testing suite where we can run the test every night, every day, or every build, on every build, to say that, okay, this build is working properly and there is nothing is broken in this build, or this build is crap. Don't even bother about that build. I'll also share you the entire process how we do this. So let me just walk you through. Okay, I'll do that. So we do sanity testing every build, and then we say to developer, okay, this build is good. You can push it to the testing environment now, because from dev side it is completed. Sanity testing ensure that, and then regression testing means, for example, any developer is created the feature or functionality. All the features comes under regression suite. So we can run the entire regression suite for that feature, and if that feature is working, the testing is done properly, then it is pass. Like that kind of model we are following. We have performance testing, we have soak testing, we have scale testing, we have RF testing, we have real-time testing also. So for example, in soak testing, we run basically 48 hours or 72 hours test continuously on an AP, and we run test and make that AP loaded fully with every kind of possible things, and to see how much AP can sustain, or how much software can sustain. So this is the kind of soak testing we do. Scale testing also we do, for example. So one of the important thing, first of all, I'll tell you what Candela does. Candela has a product which can emulate wireless stations on a single piece of hardware. So for example, if you have a smartphone, you connect to a Wi-Fi, right? Your smartphone is a station, and that Wi-Fi is the access point. Or you can think like your mobile is a client, Wi-Fi client. We create the virtual clients, we run the traffic, we do all kinds of testing on virtual clients, and we test that entire access point. And how we do is we have a scalability factor, which is very important for us. So we can create thousands of wireless virtual stations on a single piece of hardware, or multiple piece of hardware in a lab environment. So imagine if you are developing an access point in your lab, if you can create 1000 plus virtual stations or 1000 plus clients and load the AP with 1000 clients, then that is the most important part of testing, which comes under scale testing. Scale testing is very important thing. We also do real-time testing, like we do RF testing. So RF testing means we actually test the entire radio behavior, all the bands, all the channels, all the wireless communication channels, how they work in for this access point or for this build, how the radio is handling the things when there is a noise. Many kind of things we do in RF testing. There's an entire hundreds of test plans, test cases that comes in the RF test plan. Now, what we do, we create easy button test. Basically, you can go on to GitHub and or any kind of Jenkins tool or anything. We can integrate our easy button test tool. We can also do automated testing on new code changes. As I said, if any developer applies a new code or any new changes, he builds the software. Now, at the end of the build process, we trigger that the test is automatically triggered, right? This is a continuous integration, continuous testing, and continuous delivery model, where we are the part of continuous testing after the continuous integration, right? We do a build, the DevOps pipeline do a build of the software. Immediately the test is triggered, and then the test is passed, then that build is pushed to the release branch. So that is the main thing. Now you can see this particular set. We have the entire test beds available. We have like lots of these. This is the RF chamber. We have our product inside this. We keep the access point inside this chamber, and we actually emulates the stations inside that. And everything is completely automated and can be integrated with any kind of CI/CD or DevOps pipeline, which is very important for any organization. So we depend on DevOps a lot. So that's the use case which I want to say. This is entire open test lab. So we are currently working on we are currently the contributor in Open Wi-Fi telecom infra project, which is one of the biggest open Wi-Fi project in the world. And we are the one who is testing this entire open Wi-Fi CI/CD. These are the test beds. These are the chambers. These are the actual chambers testing labs available in US. So Candle India lab setup, you can see we have the similar kind of chambers. We have different types of things. We have mobile stations. We have root AP. We have different kinds of AP models. We have Wi-Fi 6 AP, Wi-Fi 5 AP. We do testing of any kind of thing. We have we can emulate AX clients. We have many kind of solutions related to Wi-Fi. For example, if you see these chambers, we have a bigger chamber also available. Where in this chamber we do RF testing. You can see this is the antennas. This is the access point device under test. Any software developer develops a code which is being applied on this AP, right? Through our CI/CD automation, what we do, any software build is done, right? That software is created, that the software installer is created, like file is created. Then we, through our automation, install that software in the access point, and then we run test and we generate the report. So this is the entire chamber setup where we have different types of RF antennas. These are the antennas, right, for the radios, and we can basically rotate this AP to different levels to verify the RF environment. we have different kinds of RF testing. I can talk like all day about this, but we don't have the all day. So we are covering in the short. So we have this AC stations, we have AX stations. You can think of, we have this programmable attenuators. We have this is our product. We create thousands of clients inside this product we have. So these products, these chambers, these everything, customers buy from us, and they keep this entire setup directly in their CI/CD pipeline for their QA testing. Now we generate some sort of, this is like a dummy report, but many of our customers also use this kind of dashboard kind of reports. We run a test. We run, for example, sanity test, 25 test case passed, 12 failed, 63% of passings there. All those different kinds of results we have, like smart Wi-Fi, load test, stress test, performance functional test, longevity test. And we can also develop the multiple. So we have the test results by test category. We have the test results by firmware build. We have the test results by access point model. So we play a major role in CI/CD automation for that. So the another thing is, this is the major role we play in entire CI/CD pipeline for Wi-Fi domain. Now, I would like to show you one of the video. I don't know if it is visible to you. Yeah. So wait a minute. So how Candela is playing a major role in CI/CD, it's shortly, briefly explained in this video. I'll explain you how it works. So you can see, developers check in their bugs and features into the repository, and this is the real-time implementation which we have. We have a API developer. It develops and push into the central repository system like GitHub. Driver developer, firmware developer, API developer. They all develop the code, and they check in their code into the repository, right? Now, what happens immediately after that? We have a build system in the CI/CD which actually pull the code, pull the changes, and build the different images for the entire firmware images stored in build artifacts. So build artifacts are stored in any kind of tool. JFrog is most popular among that. Then we have cloud controller artifacts. We have AP artifacts, many kind of different types of software artifacts we have. We load, we have our test automation framework, which is PyTest. It pulls that image from different domains, like this is AP 101, 205, 360, the different AP models. We have images. We load that image in our test automation framework. It goes into our automation framework, and then we go into test repository, our test orchestrator test system. It pulls the type of test we want to run. Like, for example, this feature needs regression test or sanity test. It runs the test, and it actually, so how it runs the test? We have the chambers for Candela available, basic, advanced, mesh, different kind of tests available. We have the reservation system for testing also. The test starts, it reserves a particular setup for this testing, and we apply the firmware on different the artifacts on the AP access point or the cloud controller. Then we run different types of testing, like we emulates the, so we start the test suite. Then during the test suite, we run the test from our Candela system, and then once the test is completed, it generates the report. Now, this report can be visualized in any kind of thing. We have the dashboards kind of visualization. We can send a custom dashboard. We can build a custom dashboard for anyone. So these kind of roles we are playing in majorly. So we have different types of test cases available. We play a major role in Wi-Fi testing. This is all we contribute in the entire CI/CD pipeline with respect to Wi-Fi domain. So you can see this video later on, very detailed, but I just explained on a very high level. So this is it for how we involve ourselves in the CI/CD environment. Now I would like to show you what kind of framework we use for automation framework. So we have our LandForge script. So we have our product name is LandForge. These are the automations repository. This is the automation repository we use. We have n number of automation scripts available for which can be used in any kind of CI/CD pipeline, where people can where the CI/CD can pull this script and it can run the test on any kind of software development life cycle, and it will basically give you the visibility. So this is the core repository that we have. We have all automation available here, and then we have we do also have we are also contributing in telecom infra project. So we have like this entire automation framework. We have different types of test suites, right? We have lab reservation, we have everything. We have an entire infrastructure for where we contribute. We have currently 1,000 plus test cases, which we can run across various things. So how we run, how it things works on GitHub. I would recommend you to learn how GitHub Actions work, right? GitHub Action is a very important. So we have sanity testing, we have manual execution, we have different types of workflows. We can create n number of workflows, right? That workflow can give you the overview of how basically you need to know how workflow is used. So if let me just briefly show you how we can create a sample workflow. So I have this private repository which I created for showing the demo of the workflow. So you can create a GitHub workflow, and what GitHub workflow is used, if you edit this file, I'll show you briefly how it can use. For example, any project you are developing, right? You can connect your GitHub repository to that project location using VPN. So there is a VPN tool available, Open VPN, Connect VPN tool. You can create a VPN and you can connect this repository to that VPN, and then any test you run, you can directly run or directly trigger from GitHub. We have also something like Jenkins. Jenkins is also available in GitHub. So you can just create a Jenkins job in the in this particular. There are n number of things you can just create your. See, GitHub is open source. You can just create any repository for you, and then you can use any kind of tool and learn how different kinds of. You can set up a Node.js environment. You can set up a Go. You can set up a Java environment. Any kind of build artifact environment. Like you can download the build artifact. Many kind of things are available here. Code quality, continuous integration. If you see continuous integration tools, we can trigger a build pipeline. We can do a pipeline runner. We can build a container. We can scan the container. Of course, you can. Sorry.
Is it possible to make the background white or enlarge the font size?
Okay. So you are not able to see this thing?
Yeah, we are able to see, however, not very clearly.
Okay, I think it's not expandable.
Maybe font size increase, I think by, yeah, this should be fine. Yeah.
Okay, then.
Thank you, sir.
This is good. Okay, so we have Ansible tool. We can integrate that. We can we have a number of things you can go and see. We have Amazon ECS render task. We can create an action. We can generate a render on that. We have a number of things that you can see. You can develop a Docker. You can build a Docker in Docker Compose itself, and then CI/CD activate plugin. Many kind of tools we have. Docker build you can do inside. The Docker is very important tool. We also use that Docker. You can explore this. Any person, you can even contribute to GitHub. For example, you can, if you want to do some new thing in the CI/CD work, you can create your own framework. You can integrate that into the GitHub, and your product will come in this marketplace kind of thing. You can build anything and that should come here. You can contribute in the CI/CD improvement. So that's the overall view of how many tools can be integrated. Now, I don't have any currently AWS thing. Otherwise, I could have show you how we can do things. So the way it works is like it creates a virtual machine for Ubuntu. When you run a job, when you trigger an action, it creates the virtual machine and on Ubuntu, and here is the open VPN kind of thing. So you can integrate open VPN, you can enter the VPN username, VPN password, you can do TLS authentication key, all those things. And then you can connect this entire job or an entire repository to your system, to your local system. This is like any student can also do. This is not something like you need to be in an organization to do this. You can create your own repository. You can create your own VPN server locally on your laptop. For example, if you want to run a test on your system, automation on your system, you can connect your system with the VPN and you can connect the GitHub with the VPN, and then your GitHub will directly able to communicate to your system using the VPN. So any student who is developing a project can use this entire GitHub workflow. After that, this check out the repo. This will actually let me just show you. So this repository, I have one Python file where I have some hello world started action, and then sum of like x 5 plus 10, 15 should be printed in this workflow. So I just have the basic Python script which I can run on the GitHub action. So I just check out this repository first, and then I give the path, like this is a path for the, and then I just run a Python 3 space test.py. Simply I can run. So I am running a single command on a GitHub runner, and I can also run a multi-line script, right? I can run multiple things. I can run single things. So this is a very basic workflow that you can see. Now, how I do this, how I can do. So I just need to go, whenever I create a workflow file, I created actually a CI file. So in the GitHub workflows, I have blank.yaml file. I can go to actions. I can go here. This is a CI. The name of this workflow is CI. I can just click on run workflow on the master, on the main branch. I have run that. And if you see the workflow is running, the entire build is running. I'll show you how things will work in detail. So the job is running currently on the virtual machine that is hosted on the GitHub runner. It is completed. So what it does, it sets up the job, right? It sets up the operating system. So you can see it's latest Ubuntu 20.04 LS LTS virtual environment. It creates a virtual environment, right, for Ubuntu. And it creates the virtual environment provisioner, GitHub token permissions, all those things. You need to enable that permissions in this particular workflow. And then check out the testing repo. So we actually checked out the CI/CD demo. This is a GitHub repository we checked out in this workflow. Which branch I want to check out? Main branch from origin. I am checking out that. And then I'm running the one-line script. So when I run hello world action started, sum of xn like 5 and 10, z is 15. This entire job is done, and it is running this entire script on the DevOps environment, which is like workflow. You can run a Python script on your system itself, right, on your laptop. But if you want to, for example, the easiest way to do is for your entire project. So most of you are students. So what you can do, if you are from CSE background, if you are developing a pure software project, what you can do, you can write a code, you can develop an entire software tool. Let's say that is in Python, that is in Java, that is in anything. You can develop a GitHub repository, and during your project presentation, like when you are developing the project, you have a master thesis or anything, any kind of presentation. You can just run the GitHub workflow and show the output, right? Show the output. Learn how to create a GitHub workflow. That is mostly used in CI/CD environment. If you can give a demo of your script or a demo of your project on a GitHub workflow, that will be the biggest achievement in your life, because you know how to create a workflow. You know how to integrate various things with a workflow. You learn the entire CI/CD things. This is very basic thing I've done, right? I was still learning a couple of months back how to create a workflow. And I just followed some of the online tutorials and other things, how to create a workflow, how to integrate various fundamental things in a GitHub workflow. Very basic thing. It's like you can create a sample. For example, this is my idea for every student here. If you have any minor project for any subject, right? For example, you have any software project which is not a major project, right? If it is a major project, that's also fine. If it is a minor project, that's also fine. You can create a script if you have a standalone script. If you develop for example, if you are learning a programming also, if you are learning any programming language also, you can just simply learn that programming language. You can write some set of programs. You write hello world program. You write some matrix programs, like you write some logical programs. Just push it to GitHub repository, run the workflow and see the output, and then show that to your faculty or to your team or any other people. And the best thing about this is you can show this entire work that you have done in the entire education to any of the job interview. This you can just attach your GitHub repository. I recommend everyone should upload your projects in a GitHub. Try to see if your project is you are able to run your project in a GitHub workflow. This is very simple. You can just run a workflow and run a script, single line script, and that single line script will be showed to everyone, right? You can show to anyone. For example, if you have developed something like you are building a tic-tac-toe game or something like that, which does not require, or any other software you are making which does not require many user inputs or a user input from a file, then certainly you can create a workflow or like that. Or even if something required a user input, that can also be done. So I'll show you how we use in Wi-Fi domain, how we contribute in open source project. So we have n number of workflow in the GitHub Actions. So we have something like this workflow. When we run a workflow, we can also give some arguments. These arguments can be also given to your script. For example, if you want to run a script and you want to run that on certain build, this is a build we want to do. In PyTest, we use the marker concept. Every suite is associated with a marker you can give, and you can create the lab. This is a lab environment, on which lab you want to do. Many kind of things you can do with workflow. You can give an argument. You can even create multiple branches, and you can run your test on different branch also. So currently in this particular thing, I have only one branch, so I cannot select many branches. But if you have a different learn how to work on different GitHub branches and all those things. I think this could be the best starting point for any starting point person who is just new to any programming language, or any who wants to explore the CI/CD and DevOps kind of thing. This could be the best thing to start. Also, you can learn. See, for example, if you want to create a project, right, for you, the best idea for DevOps could be how to integrate various CI features in the GitHub, right? How you can integrate, basically, how you can integrate a Google Cloud environment in your GitHub. This could be the one of the project you can do. You can create a Google Cloud GCP account, and you can install the token and environment path like that here. You can even, if you are a gaming developer, you can see how Unity you can use. I think this needs a pro license, but things like AWS and other things you can directly use. So this is all from my side, and I'm happy to answer any of the questions now.